Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going to be making an apple spiced streusel coffee cake from my grandma's cookbook from 1987. This week, however, the recipe is from a newspaper clipping from the Bucks County Courier-Times, and it is dated 2008, which means that it was a recipe that my grandpop had picked out and not my grandmom. So this time we're going to be making this recipe for him. And we're also going to make this for Thanksgiving because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I will have to make an entire cake for Thanksgiving, but I am going to make a separate little cupcake, coffee cake for me to taste with you today. There are two parts to this recipe. You have the streusel topping and then the cake itself. So first let's get started with what's going into the streusel topping. First is a half a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon and a half a teaspoon of ginger, a half a cup of chopped walnuts, and a quarter cup of cold unsalted butter in pieces. I didn't preheat my oven. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. The second step is to grease and flour a bundt pan or a 9 by 13 inch baking dish, which I did the bundt pan. It's greased and floured. Let's get on some gloves. Looks like we're going to be using our handy dandy hands. Let go. Give it. Now that we're gloved, next step is to combine your brown sugar, flour, ginger, cinnamon, and cold butter cubes and mix them in a bowl with your fingertips and rub them together until they resemble large breadcrumbs. Okay, so rub them together. Let's do that. I don't really know what to start with, but so butter. You want to make sure your butter's cold because when it's not cold, then it starts to just like kind of smooth into like a paste rather than a crumble, so to speak. Brown sugar, flour, the cinnamon and ginger. And now we're going to use our fingers and crumble it together. Crumble, crumble, crumble. Last time I tried to do this though, I didn't do a very good job. My butter wasn't cold enough. If it starts to smooth out too much, which is kind of what it's doing, put it back in the fridge. All right, I think we are crumbled to big breadcrumbs. That feels like a big piece of brown sugar though. Oh no, I overdid it. Shit, I should have left it. It's too crumbled. I mean, it was too warm. Now it's turning into balls. Ah, all right, I have to stop. I'm gonna stop touching it. So I made it a little worse because I kept going. So that's what it looks like right now though. And they want you to put it back in the fridge so it stays cold. And I'll try to re-crumble it, make it a little finer. My warm hands started to make them stuck together. Into the fridge with this. Oh, shit. Not into the fridge. Stop screaming at me. Not into the fridge with this because I forgot to put the walnuts in. Walnuts. I'll try to touch it as little as possible. Okay, so this is what it looks like now that I've put the walnuts in it. We're gonna stick this in the fridge. So now that our streusel is hanging out in the fridge, keeping cool, let's take a look at what we're gonna have going into our cake mix. First is 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Next is 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of ginger, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. A half a cup of unsalted butter, room temperature, 3/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar, a half a cup of regular sugar, 3 large eggs. They are all still intact because the recipe does call for them to be put in one at a time. 2 tart apples, such as Granny Smith or Golden Delicious, cored, peeled, chopped. Then we have 1 1/4 cup of buttermilk mixed with 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So first you're gonna take your dry ingredients and you're gonna sift them all together. So our flour, our spices, and our leavening agents. I'm gonna pop those all in there. Give them a whisk so that they are all well incorporated. In another large bowl, you're gonna beat the butter on medium speed until it is light and fluffy. You're gonna gradually add in both of your sugars and mix until everything is very light. I just added the granulated sugar, now I'm gonna add the brown sugar, which just came out in a clump, so can't really add that gradually. I shouldn't say can't, I could have, but I didn't. Let's get this mixed together. That's giving my arm a workout. Oh, got some stuff on there, some butter. Now we're gonna add the eggs one at a time and beating well each egg to make sure that they're fully incorporated. But it also says to not overbeat it because it'll make it tough. So we're going to crack into a separate container to make sure that we don't get any shells and we're not dumping shells directly into our already mixed batter. 1. 2. 3. Now that each egg is mixed in, that's what our batter looks like currently. The next step is to gently fold in the apples. So with the mixer on low, now we're going to gradually add in your flour and then your buttermilk, and then back to your flour and then your buttermilk. So 2 batches on low speed until everything's just mixed. Again, you don't want to over mix. So we're on low. I'm going to mix in half of this. Okay, half of my buttermilk next. The rest of my flour. Push down the sides carefully to make sure that you get everything mixed in. All right, last, the rest of our buttermilk. Ooh, doggy. That is for sure an arm workout. That's light. So next we're going to do half of the batter into the prepared bundt pan and then sprinkle 1/3 of the streusel onto that, and then the rest of the filling, and then the rest of the streusel. And then we're going to bake it for 45 minutes, test it to see if the inside is finished, and then let it cool for 15 minutes in the bundt pan and then put it on a rack. So let's put this in there. Hopefully not make a huge mess. I feel like I should have maybe a bigger spoon. Ah, much bigger. So let's get this in here. Ah, oh no, not there. We lost some. It's getting everywhere. Shit. So I took my streusel out of the fridge, and I'm trying to crumble it better. I don't know why this is so hard. All right, so now this goes. Now I don't remember what I was saying. So now we're gonna put 1/3 of the streusel in on this layer. There's Cole. Welcome to the show, buddy. How was school?
It was good.
Are you happy to be done?
Yeah.
Next, you're gonna put the rest of the batter in. Next, add the rest of the streusel onto the top and then pat it down gently. Sorry, I just want to crumble it a little more. All right. Pat it down. This is what it looks like ready for the oven. Hopefully you can see it, maybe. So now we're gonna bake this for 40 to 45 minutes in the oven. I have it on top of a baking sheet because the bottom of this bundt pan is oddly shaped and it won't sit well on the racks. So 40 to 45 minutes in an oven that's set to 350, and then we'll give it a taste. Dang it! How long were you open? What did I open you for? Ignore that. Dang it! The whole time. That cabinet is not clean. Be back soon. So the cake is finished baking. That's what it looks like. It took about an hour to bake. The recipe says 45 minutes, but this took about an hour. You just test it with a toothpick. You stick the toothpick in to one of the deeper spots and pull it out. And if the toothpick comes out wet, then it's not done. If it comes out dry, then it is done. Since this dessert is for my Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow with my family, I am not gonna cut that one up. I'm gonna leave that one nice and whole for everybody to taste on Thanksgiving. When I was filling the bundt pan with the batter, I made a separate small little cupcake for myself to taste now and for us to try together. You can smell all the spices in there. It smells pretty good. It's got all that nice that nice apple in there. So let's give it a taste. Cheers. The apple is a nice addition. It's spiced really well. The cake is nice and soft and moist, and it's delicious. I like it. The apple really like brightens it up. I could have maybe chopped these a little bit smaller, but I think they're fine. This is delicious. Cole, you want to come taste it? Fine. So, final thoughts. I think it's a delicious cake, a delicious coffee cake. It was quite tasty. I couldn't stop eating it. I think adding the streusel in the middle before you add the next layer of cake batter is a really great idea. It was delicious, and I think that if you ever want to make an apple spiced streusel coffee cake, this should be the one you use. I think my pop-up really would have enjoyed that, and I hope that the rest of my family enjoys it tomorrow when they get to taste it for Thanksgiving. But let's get into what we're going to get into next time. So the next time we see each other, it will be in a different kitchen and with some special guests, and we will be making snickerdoodles. Here's the recipe. I haven't made snickerdoodles since I was in high school, I don't think. It's been quite some time. The page was marked off in the book. Again, there are multiple recipes, so I'm not exactly sure which one it was marked off for. Probably, though, the snickerdoodles. So I'm excited for these cookies. I'm excited to spend some time with some special guests in a special place, and I hope you join me then. I hope you had a great time making this apple coffee cake, and I hope you come see me next time. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.